Did we tell you it was going to be a great week, or did we tell you it was going to be a great week? Dion, Coach Prime Sanders, locked in for an additional 5 years with the Colorado Buffaloes. And to that, my friends, we drink.
Cheers.
Cheers,
squad.
boys.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go!
Squad! Woo! Yes, sir. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's a very special emergency podcast for DNVR Buffs Live because Coach Prime and the University of Colorado, 5 years, $54 million extension through 2029. What a dub.
Locked in.
What a dub. First and foremost, congratulations to Coach Prime.
Oh, yes.
Of course.
For her.
Well deserved.
Gotta be the most validating, maybe not the most, but an incredibly validating moment for him in his coaching career. A career that many people doubted, a career that many people tried to act like was more of an act.
Right.
They called him a celebrity coach. They tried to discredit him as a coach in many, many ways. And I think that this extension validates everything that he's believed all along, which that he was meant for this and that he's going to succeed in this. Beyond that, congratulations to the Colorado football faithful.
100%.
What a freaking day. This fan base obviously had gone through the absolute ringer before Coach Prime got here and has been through a ringer in its own way since he got here, especially as it relates to this topic. No matter who you talk to from anywhere, a fan of any team, all they want to say is, oh yeah, well, he's going to be gone in a couple years anyway, from the second that he got here.
Literally.
And so for this to happen now, for Coach Prime to ink his commitment to the Colorado Buffaloes for an additional 5 years is got to be such a sigh of relief, but also another feeling of validation for Buffs fans who actually believed Coach Prime when he spoke, who actually, heard him when he said, "I love it here." When he said, "I'm not going to follow my sons to the NFL." When he said, "I don't want to coach in the NFL anyway." When he said, "This is a great destination for me." All of those things, for the people who heard that and said, "I trust him. I believe him." Today is an incredibly validating day. So the cheers that we had here on the show to begin this emergency podcast is also to all of you out there who maybe are a few hours from being able to have your first drink of the Friday, but that's for yours in a few hours.
Well said, bro. Like you said, man, I'm just so happy for Coach Prime. I'm so happy for the University of Colorado, all the Buffs faithful, who have been faithful over some tough times, some tough eras of Colorado football, and they have been rewarded. And Coach Prime has been rewarded. And that's, I think, the coolest thing to me. Like, Coach Prime takes care of his people, whether it's the players, whether it's obviously his staff. He was asked a couple weeks ago about the extension. He was like, I'm cool. Like, let's make sure everybody else get first. This offseason, he helped, make Robert Livingston the highest paid assistant coach in CU history. He brought along on his staff Byron Leftwich and Domitab Peko and Marshall Falk and Andre Gerard. He got his people together. He rewarded his people, and now he is being rewarded. Now he is being taken care of like he's consistently taking care of his people. And I just love to see that. And being rewarded the right way. Coach Prime is now the highest paid head football coach in the Big 12.
Yeah.
On an average per year salary, he is a top 5 highest paid head coach in college football, an average of $10.8 million a year, getting paid more money on an average per year basis than Steve Sarkisian down there in Texas. Like, and this is, I think I heard somebody mention, like, he has not only been paid and rewarded for what he has done, but he is being paid and rewarded for his value, the value that he brings to the Boulder community, the state of Colorado, and obviously the university as well. So you just love to see that, man. And it's going to be a fun day, and it's going to be a fun next, 4 to 5 years under, Coach Prime's tutelage. This is a great historical day.
Such a massive moment. I can only imagine how validating it is for Coach Prime, how validating it is for Buff Nation, the fans out there, because as you said, RK, since the minute this era started, it's always been, when Shedeur and Travis are gone, he's gone too. He's going to go coach the Cowboys, all this stuff.
Yep.
And shout out to the people who listen to Coach Prime.
Yeah.
I build legacies. I don't inherit them. He didn't lie about that. He never lied about his love for the University of Colorado, the love for Boulder. It's got to be just feeling so good for him. It's only 2 years into this era, or 2 seasons into coaching at Colorado, but you can see the ceiling that this program has. And that takes me to this one thing in my first year that I heard multiple times. I heard from Darian Hagan. I heard it from Rick George. Colorado is a sleeping giant. And Coach Prime, probably the only one who could have awoken the sleeping giant in the way he did the last 2 years, to do it this quickly, to bring this program back to where it belongs and where it is right now, and to realize that we still have so much more to go.
Yep.
The recruiting, just like when they signed Coach Prime initially, when he was hired, recruiting instantly is going to pick up from this.
Yeah.
This is a monumentous day. It's a great day. Cheers, everyone.
And to build off of that, Jake, my sports peak, the one thing that I want more than anything in my entire life as a sports fan, is a national championship at Colorado. And since I was a kid, today is the day that I have felt the closest to getting to that goal. This is now a possibility. This is a reality. What Coach Prime has done here at Colorado so far shows an ability to bring elite players to this football team and to this city, and he's also shown it in the trenches. And to me, that's the most important part. If you're talking about national championships, you can win with all the other positions. National championships come from in the trenches. We're talking about 5, 6, 7 years from now, the type of players that Coach Prime is going to bring here over that time, maybe even 3, 4 years from now, thinking about when Julian Lewis is an upperclassman.
Yeah.
Today, right now, the moment that news dropped is the closest I have ever felt to winning a national championship since 2001.
Sheesh.
When they should have gotten in on the BCS.
As you should, man. We saw it. I mean, the Dylan Edwards commitment, the Winston Watkins commitment, even though things happen to those guys and all that, that's the impact right away. Like, this is opening the eyes of players, recruits around the country. Jordan Seaton with probably the tweet of the day. Like, what's your excuse now?
Yeah.
Like, why not Colorado? Honestly, at this point, why would Julian be here if he didn't think this was going to happen too? It's just, you can already see the future kind of already with this team right now. All the IMG pipeline that we talked to Cliff Hill about the other day. All these things are just going to get bolstered with this news. Like, this is probably the biggest news of the college football offseason by far, because it formally announces Colorado as a college football threat for the next 5 years at least.
That they not going nowhere. And I think that's might be my biggest takeaway of this whole thing, is that this 2026 recruiting class is about to start going crazy. It's about to start picking up. And I think we might have started running into that today with Dorian Barney.
Of course.
Having Colorado in his top 6, one of the top talents, regardless of position, in the class of 2026. And I think I low-key got a little analogy about this whole situation that we've seen unfold over the last 2 years. With Coach Prime and this whole contract situation thing. To me, it kind of seems like you're a dude, right? And you're a solid 7. You know what I'm saying? You're a solid 7. There's nothing wrong with being a solid 7. But somehow you bag a baddie. Like a 10. Like a perfect 10.
Can relate.
Like, you bag just a perfect 10. And you see people in public, maybe your homie side-eye, and you like, gee, that ain't gonna last. She gonna cheat on you, G.
Right.
Yeah. Y'all gonna break up.
Right.
And I know y'all gonna break. She too cold for you. She too bad for you. And then 2 years later, you go on Instagram and you see them married. And you see them about that question. That's today. That's today. The baddie, and feel me. This is just a perfect marriage. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people didn't see this coming. But the people who listened to Coach Prime and believed everything he said over the last 2 years knew that this day would eventually come. And it's here, and it's so glorious.
One more big congratulations, and I'm sure some other will hit me during this show. But Rick George, congratulations to Rick George, man.
RG.
Friend of the program.
Oh my God.
And what a legacy that he now has to live or to leave. I don't know how long Rick is going to be the athletic director at Colorado. I think that he's at least kind of hinted during his time that this will probably be his last ride. And it was so important to him to not leave Colorado in a worse or similar place than he found it. And so he went big. He swung for the fences and went for the 10 that you're talking about. And he hit a home run.
Chief.
And
Grand slam.
And it's not just the hire that matters. It's the relationship that he was able to forge with Coach Prime, the trust that he was able to forge with Coach Prime to put him in a position to do this move, which I wouldn't be surprised if is his final big move, his final send-off. Yeah. Not that he's going to leave this week.
Right.
But when we look back, we'll say that was Rick George's last big move.
Yeah.
He got the Coach Prime extension. And what I was just talking about, winning big, winning a national championship, when it gets to that point, we'll look back and say, Rick, you did it, man. Thank you.
You did it.
Absolutely. I mean, go back to that day in early October 2022 when Carl Durrell is fired. And Rick George was under fire as well. I mean, people wanted him out.
Crazy.
For him, with his basically back against the wall, to just put all the chips in the middle of the table, go get Coach Prime, really not focus on anyone else, just realize that it's Prime or bust pretty much. And Coach Prime to recognize that. What do we talk about all the time with Coach Prime? He goes to Marshall Faulk. He says, I need you. He says to Jordan Seaton, I need you. Rick George told Coach Prime, I need you. Coach Prime recognized that, responded, and now he's being rewarded gloriously. Man, shout out to Rick George. I mean, this is the definition of a legacy move.
Good point. Shout out to RG. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, released a statement today after his new deal, news of that broke. He goes, I'm excited for the opportunity to continue building something special here at Colorado. We've just scratched the surface of what this program can be. It's not just about football. It's about developing young men who are ready to take on the world. I'm committed to bringing greatness to this university on and off the field. We've got work to do, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here, making history with these incredible players and this passionate fan base. Lastly, anybody got at least a 5-bedroom home with acreage for sale? Love that from Coach Prime. That is such a Coach Prime quote statement right there.
I'll have to hit up my parents. Little things are just like hitting me as we go through this. As I'm digesting. I mean, this came down when I was on the Bronco show, so I'm like trying to send off a couple tweets.
What was that
like?
First off,
trying to process, like trying to show excitement, but I'm like, my head's spinning. We're in the middle of a conversation that was pissing me off.
Talking about the stadium.
Yes, talking about the stadium potentially moving outside of Denver. So that was like, I'm still kind of processing this in real time. I ran from that set, ate lunch, shout out Factor, and came right back down here. But like the Coach Prime statue, when he talks about having his face carved into the flat irons, maybe it's carved into some bronze outside of the state. Like that is now a possibility. Like all of the biggest dreams you could have ever had for what was going to happen here the day that Coach Prime decided to become the head coach at Colorado, those are all more on the table than they ever were before. And I was always confident that Coach Prime was going to stay here, but you can never know.
No.
And we talked about it on this show. Like, who could have blamed him if he had an opportunity to coach Shador in the NFL? And maybe that opportunity could still come. But you just have these things in the back of your mind. And I don't think I was prepared for the weight that was lifted when this happened and when we found out that this was going to happen, because it's just, it allows you to look into the long term. So much of the Coach Prime era has been about now. He walked into a room and said, we're going to win now. And if you're not going to be part of that, you're not going to be here. And every year of the Coach Prime era, both years of the Coach Prime era, almost felt like it existed in a silo.
Right.
It's like, a self-contained TV show where they do more seasons of it, but
Literally,
each season exists internally. Season 1 was so different from season 2. And they almost just feel like these one-stop shops. Now you get to look way out into the future and start to imagine what this thing can be. And we talked about the next chapter really when Shador and Shiloh and Travis and everyone else left. It opens this new chapter. Well, this next chapter has a hell of a lot more pages in it now. And there's going to be a whole lot more time for character development and all of the other things that come in a great story in this new, much more extended chapter.
Love it, man. Let's take our first break. And then we'll dig into the contract details. There's a lot more to talk about with this whole thing.
Shout out to our homies over at Coors Light, man. Hey, listen, between work, you feel me, what we see on social media and the many life choices life throws our way, it's no wonder people are increasingly worked up. But we don't have to let the noise ruin our chill. Whether we're making new friends at a tailgate or shoveling some snow off our stadium seat, you can cheer on your team, and that's right there. That's when you choose chill and reach for a Coors Light to be exact. It's a mountain cold refreshment. Hey, when the mountains turn blue, I'm telling you, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. Choose chill this winter and then reach for a Coors Light. You can actually get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. All you got to do is visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Raising Cane's. I get cravings a lot, but the Raising Cane's cravings, when you just start thinking about that sauce, man.
Yeah.
The buttery Texas toast, those crinkle cut fries.
The saltiness of the tenders.
Oh,
fingers.
Man. Yes, the fingers get it right. But go get you a box combo. I know you're probably thinking about it too. Cane's is just legit, man. Probably the best chicken fingers out there with the best sauce, best sides. I like making the little sandwich. Get yourself a little extra Texas toast.
Oh, yeah.
Put
I've
the
heard
sauce
about
on
that.
the toast, a little coleslaw. Get yourself a couple tenders on there. Nothing better. Get your box combo today. Make your craveable dreams a reality. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
One love, man.
Only 3 head coaches in college football on a per-year basis make more money than Coach Prime. Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Dabo Swinney. All national championship winning coaches.
Yep.
And to your point, I think a national championship at some point is in Coach Prime's future here at Colorado. And I think you're paying ahead. Again, you have to take into account the value that he brings to the community, not just what he's been able to do from a coaching perspective on the football field the last couple of years. And I just love this, and it just made me think about our conversation the other day too with Cliff Hill when he was on the show with us, and he was talking about Coach Prime, and he goes, he feels like he really wants to build something. He found a spot that has a whole lot of trust in him and gave him the freedom to go get the coaches he wanted. I know that meant a lot to him, and that's what a lot of these relationships come down to, whether it's sports or elsewhere. It's a partnership, a lot of these situations, and it's a real partnership between Coach Prime and Rick George, and obviously Coach Prime and everybody that he has helped bring and helped him have success here at Colorado. So just, I don't know if we're maybe kind of putting a little bit of bow on it here before we get to Rashid Street, but this is just a beautiful thing that is unfolded here today.
Rashid Street will come. Don't worry about that.
My bad.
Real quick, this episode should set an all-time likes record
Hit
for
the
our
like
shows.
button.
Smack that like button.
Smash the like button. This, I don't know what our record is. I would guess it's...
Still the Sean Lewis.
No, that's views.
For views, yes.
I don't have to think that one is thumbs up, although
Might be.
it was a time. I'm going to guess that our record is like 3,000.
I wonder if it's just like Texas Tech game this year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. the point being, though, I know for a fact a hell of a lot more than 3,000 people are going to to watch this. So if you're here, hit that like. Let's set an all-time record here, and throw a little party here on a Friday afternoon.
For sure. Let's go to some of the numbers. It's a new 5-year extension on top of his current in-place 5-year deal. Of course, we only got 2 years through that. That was signed in 2022. That went through 2027. Now it goes through 2029. Total of $54 million. All this from Brian Howell. When Coach Prime signed that initial deal, he was already the highest paid coach in Colorado football history. This obviously tops that. It's a $10 million base salary in 2025 and 2026, $11 million in 2027 and 2028, and $12 million in 2029. Brian also tweeted out the incentives here.
Good incentives.
Here we go. $150,000 if the football team wins 9 games in the regular season, $100,000 more after each additional win. Another $150,000 playing in the Big 12 title game. Same amount for an invite to a non-CFP bowl game. $400,000 if the football team wins the conference title or appears in the CFP round 1. If the football team achieves both, coach only earns the $40,000 bonus. But if team wins round 1, coach earns an additional $50,000. $100,000 if they make the CFP semifinals. $200,000 if they appear in the championship game. $250,000 if they win the Natty, and many more for Coach of the Year awards. Coach Prime got the bag.
That's a very interesting structure. If I remember correctly, you said $400,000 for making the college football playoff.
If the team wins the conference championship or appears in the CFP round 1, yep.
So it's a bigger bonus for making it than it is for winning it. Obviously, they just start compounding as you go through.
I'd imagine the $100,000 for each win on top of 9 wins probably stacks with that too.
Yeah.
Good, Brad. And just some other numbers you were talking about, the inevitability of wherever Shedeur gets drafted probably a year from now. There are going to be rumblings of Coach Prime leaving to go coach, Shedeur in the NFL. But as of 2026, it will cost a $10 million buyout. Coach Prime for this current contract. That goes down to $6 million the next year in 2027 and goes down a couple of the next few years. But it's going to be a hefty price, just like it was this past year when I was convinced that he wasn't going to leave for the Cowboys partly because of that buyout thing. And that's going to be a reality for at least the next 3 to 4 years. The hefty buyout it would require for Coach Prime to get out of this contract here.
Absolutely. And that's another one that, add some security for CU fans.
Definitely.
Who, unfortunately, once saw CU mess it up in the buyout part of a contract with Mel Tucker and didn't find themselves in a better position afterwards because of that. So I know that was a sticking point for a lot of CU fans wanting to see a nice big buyout to, 1, scare other places away.
Right.
And 2, in the event, give Colorado a nice little parachute. But to me, this is not something that you have to worry about. And from what I heard, these talks really geared up over the last couple weeks. And I don't find that timing to be by accident. I think that Coach Prime got into spring ball and started this new journey of being a coach without his sons on the football team.
Yep.
And we all can think how we're going to feel when things happen and think how we're going to react when things happen, but we don't know until we're in it how we would actually react and how we're actually going to feel in a moment. And I think that Coach Prime went out there in this spring and started coaching this football team and realized that I still really, really love this. And I'm still deeply fulfilled by the experience of going out here and getting to help these young men turn into grown men, to help these young men pursue their dreams, to help them become better and smarter football players and better and smarter people overall. And I think that when that really set in was when this thing geared up and he was like, let's go. I have no doubts in my mind that this is what I want to do.
And also, I just think that it's clear that what Rick George has allowed Coach to do here is not what almost any other AD would allow for their program around the country. Like, I think that's one of the draws to, people are going to talk about the buyout. What's the buyout? Especially Colorado fans, they're going to be worried about that. But I don't think there's any other university that is going to do what Rick George did, hand the keys over to Coach Prime, truly allow this program to become his and allow him to build it up how he wants to. Plus, since Coach Prime's already done that, why would he start over somewhere else? After he already has all this control, all this power over the football program to do what he wants, puts turf in if he wants to, all that stuff. Like, there's not many. I don't think there maybe is another program out there that would allow Coach Prime to be Coach Prime the way that Colorado and Rick George does. So
it's a one-on-one destination for a one-on-one coach. You know what I'm saying? This is a perfect marriage. This is a perfect partnership. Again, not only between head coach and athletic director, but between, head coach and an entire community, entire university. And this is a special day, man. I'm really excited.
Speaking of community, and I think about this community, and going back to that point I had of like each season feeling self-contained, you just never knew when this magic carpet ride was going to end.
For sure.
And you could just feel it in any conversation you ever had with someone around the program, a fan at a tailgate, like whatever. It's always just this like, here we are, like
taking it year by year,
taking it in, and you never knew like what was going to happen next. I'm so happy that the experience that we've got to have so far, whether that's, building a friendship with Uncle Neely and Darius and, all of the different people that we've met around the program, whether that's the people who have been like kind of they've popped up at a tailgate once a year and we get to see them again. The families of the players that we've built relationships with, like, just everything that comes with being a part of this now is so extended. It almost reminds me of when your team is in the NCAA tournament and you make it past the second game. Mm-hmm. So you're going to the Sweet 16. It feels like you have like a whole new life.
Yeah.
Because the first two games are just survive and advance, and you got to play the next 2 days later.
Definitely.
This one happens, and it's like, okay, now we have like a week to breathe.
Yeah. Yep.
This is like a much larger scale, but it feels like kind of the same way. It feels like we're going to the Sweet 16 of the Coach Prime era,
sure.
Yeah.
And
good point.
What a feeling that is. And, like I said, the comfort of just being like, man, we get to just keep doing all of these things that have been so exciting and so fulfilling over the last couple of years. Keep building the relationships that we've got to build is a really cool feeling.
I think your point you brought up in your last kind of soliloquy was really, really insightful and really resonated with me because I felt like it's very true. Like, Coach Prime probably knew he would have liked to stay in Boulder as the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, but you don't know what it's like to continue to be the head coach without your sons there.
Sure.
And I feel like he probably felt like he had to take in 5 or 6 spring practices like he did over the last couple weeks to make sure in his heart of hearts that he knew that this is what I want to keep doing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's important. I think it also tells us that he feels really confident about this team and the talent on this team and that they're going to be able to compete this year and beyond the way he wants to in the Big 12 and potentially compete for, a playoff spot. I don't think if Coach Prime had any doubts about this team's ability to compete without a Shedeur Sanders or without a Travis Hunter, if he had any doubts about that, I don't think he would have went forward, at least at this point in time, with an extension. But to me, that tells you that he's very confident in what this team can possibly accomplish here in 2025 and beyond.
No doubt, man. All right, let's take our next break. Receipt Street is coming, so hit the like button. Get your questions in also. We'll answer a few at the end of the show.
Can you...
Sure.
Shout
Go
out
ahead.
to our friends at Fanstake. Cool new app that allows you, the fans, to really help contribute to the success of the current Colorado Buffaloes and the future Colorado Buffaloes. Right now, they're giving you a $25 free credit, no credit card required or strings attached, to stake a player. Let's pick Jordan Seaton because of the tweet today and We'll go into Jordan Seaton a bit, but he's like a legacy player at Colorado now after one season.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's true.
But hit up our friends at Fanstake. You can stake Jordan Seaton. They got a bunch of buffs on there. Portal's coming up here in a couple weeks as well, so you're going to want to be signed up and ready for when that opens, because this news is going to impact the transfer portal, and someone's going to see this news and go, maybe I should spend my remaining 3 years of eligibility at Colorado.
Chief.
Again, they're offering a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. Let's stake Jordan Seaton today, the new leader of the Colorado Buffaloes. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com. Use the promo code DNVR to help keep Jordan Seaton with the Buffs.
And shout out to the squad over at UC Health. The DNVR Buffs show is brought to you by UC Health, the official healthcare partner of the Colorado Buffaloes. Listen, I didn't get to hit the gym earlier today because, we had to come in and handle some really important news.
Yeah.
Happened this
should have hit it at 9 like I did.
emergency spot where I just can't do it, but that's okay. I'm more than willing because I know tomorrow I'm going to get back at it. I know yesterday I was at it, and I know that health is really of
wealth.
Paramount importance. The mental health, the physical health. Health is wealth, as the saying goes. What's the streak at now, bro? Steps in
59.
Let's go.
That's insane, bro. We're almost hitting 60. RK's getting it in with the steps. We're all in the gym working on our health. Learn more about living like there is a tomorrow. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health. Live extraordinary.
And there is a tomorrow for the Coach Prime era,
100%.
Colorado. One more shout out I want to hit. The donors.
Of course.
None of this could have been possible if Rick George didn't have a group of people he could turn to and say, can you help me out here? And Rick, they had to believe in Rick George the first time around because Rick said, hey, we don't have the money for this. We're going to find it. And the proof is going to be in the pudding, and people are going to back it up. And that's not just for Coach Prime's contract, but also for the NIL and all of the other things that people have contributed money to. But this time especially, too. Again, you're going twice as deep of waters as you've ever gone into when it comes to a contract for a head coach. And you got to be able to turn to those people. And obviously, Coach Prime and the success that he's had over the last 2 years has a lot to do with that. But I give a lot of credit to the people who are, writing the checks to helping make this happen.
No doubt. They stepped up in multiple ways to help with this roster. And let's plan our stake, presented by Fanstake, and talk about Jordan Seaton. Because I said it, he's like a legacy player. He's only played 1 year at Colorado. But what he did, taking that chance as a 5-star recruit on Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes after 1 year, is completely unprecedented. He kind of set the tone, basically, for future teams. He's without a question the leader of this football team. And just this tweet today that he put out shortly after the extension was announced, pretty much just sums it all up. If I can find it. Who's stopping you from coming now?
And so I'm actually going to kind of hijack Plant Your Stake this week and make it about the next guys.
Absolutely.
Scotty, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but it goes to what Jordan is saying here. What is stopping you now? There's all of the negative recruiting that has happened is so obsolete now.
Yes. All the tactics are outdated.
So stupid.
They're outdated, exactly. And there's got to be guys across the country who thought twice about this. We know specifically of a player who left or didn't come this offseason who said, I just don't know. I can't be sure if Coach Prime is going to be here. That's out the window. That's out the window. And you know that every coach in the Big 12 or the SEC or whoever that they're recruiting against is saying, well, he's just going to follow Shador and Shiloh to the NFL when he gets there. You're like, I'm going to be here. I don't have any reason to leave. I don't have any kids to follow to the league, et cetera, et cetera. This opens big-time doors in recruiting that I don't think have been opened yet.
Nope.
And the Buffs are going to have a chance to plant their stake in a lot of different places. And I honestly think the dominoes could start falling as soon as today. I mean,
Swear.
we saw them when Coach Prime, agreed to be the coach the first time. The dominoes started to fall within hours.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a guy who didn't come here because of this, who now wants to enter the portal and come here. High school players obviously feeling a lot more confident in that decision. Other transfers, big transfers, who that might have played a role in their decision. Those dominoes are going to start falling very quickly. And again, not to double tap into the support thing, but the support's going to become even more important, because at this point we have been able to afford a Jordan Seaton in a class. Mm-hmm. We have been able to afford a Julian Lewis in a class. Now we're looking at like 10 of those in a class.
For real? Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah.
So we're going to need more. We're going to need more, whether it comes to staking players on Fan Your Stake, whatever it may be. That support is going to become more and more crucial.
Yeah, no, the conversation immediately goes from getting 1, maybe 2 5-star recruits to let's try and get 5. Let's try and get 7. Let's actually build this thing up and just have the depth that you can only imagine and think of when it comes to a national title contender.
I just can't imagine a college football program in America right now having more motion, more aura than the Colorado Buffaloes, with their head coach, maybe the most famous, name, face in all of college sports at the helm of it. You have your quarterback of the future in the building, 5-star Julian Lewis. You have your left tackle of the future locked in the building. You have a one-of-one coaching staff filled with gold jackets and former NFL pros and coaches. Like, this is the spot in college football if we're talking about young guys, freshmen, guys in the portal. This is a monumental day, and I agree with you. I think in the next 24 hours we can see evidence of that.
Absolutely. Well, we got a little guest to join the show here.
No
Not
way.
really a guest, but our guy.
What's up, Unc?
Uncle's popping.
Man, it's crack-a-lacking. How y'all feeling?
Feeling great,
We
bro.
feel great, man. How do you feel?
Well, relieved. I don't know if it's like a weight off the shoulders or you just come from taking an awesome dump. Either way, you just feel lighter.
Only you. Only you can make that comment.
Hey, but I bet you everybody understands what I mean. You just feel good. You just,
God.
as Ice Cream says, you step out feeling 10 pounds lighter.
Feels like your legs are moving more swiftly. Unc, I have a big question for you. Is it time to get a car in Colorado now?
A Toyota.
Yeah, I think that's top of the order now. Like a maybe not only just a vehicle, but a more of a permanent residence again. Just 5-year deal.
Love it. Unc, what can you tell us just about, this whole process, the conversations you've had with Coach Prime about the future at Colorado? Obviously, this moment is finally here, and it's 5 more years, but you're so close to Coach. What was it like just seeing him fall in love basically with Boulder in this program?
Yeah, let me say this on the back end of that, Jake. I think that clearly because this deal has been signed, agreed to, that both parties are not just satisfied, they're happy with it. But I can also understand that when you see a guy like Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, as we know him, if he's taking a 10-point deal, knowing he's worth 14 plus, it just speaks to how much he loves Boulder and Colorado and wants to be here. Because if you look at all the ancillary things he brings to the table above and beyond winning football games, there's no doubt that the market can stand and deserves to pay him more. But when you see him take this deal, you just know this guy means with it when he says that he loves being here. He wants to be here. He loves this community, loves this school, loves working with this program. Because like I've shared with you guys, and we've talked in the past during the season all the way through the bowl game, anything less than 10, is pertinent or insult when you look at who he is and what he brings to the table. And to see him sign a deal just north of 10, 54 total, and which he, Ryan, you and I talked, man, and it was in confidence, at the time. But I can say now that he was always willing for a lot of the money to be put on the back end. He didn't need everything up front because he loves being here at this school. And I think that's why he and Rick George, shout out to Rick George for getting this done, were able to meet in that range, making him the highest paid in the Big 12, making him in the top 5 around the nation. But I'm going to tell you guys, the stuff that he has planned for this program, the stuff that's going to happen, by the time we get year 3 of this, that 12 in year 3, we're going to be renegotiating again, happily, and it's going to go up because this team is going to be in the CFP, and this guy is going to be the first black head coach to win the national championship, all under this contract.
Oh God,
Let's go.
speak it into existence. Like, we completely agree with you, and I agree with you too. I think in about 3 years from now, they're going to have to go back to the table, and rightfully so. And I think both sides are going to be willing to do that. Before you hopped on with us, we were talking a little bit about the impact that this might have on recruiting, both from the high school ranks and the transfer portal. Now that Coach Prime is locked in for the foreseeable future, and a lot of the negative recruiting tactics that other programs might use are, quite frankly, outdated. How much do you think this news today might impact recruiting from the high school ranks and the transfer portal here moving forward?
I just want to add one more log on that, Scotty. You're reaching into that deep pocket, and just as I thought you were going to lean into it and go a little deeper, you pulled out too soon. Pause.
Did you see what his shirt is?
Hey, I got to tell you this, but Positive Message Clothing reeked out. They were watching the episode when I gave you props for giving me this wonderful Scotty Deep Pockets nickname, and my guy at Positive Message Clothing made me a Scotty Deep Pocket shirt. Ain't this fine?
I'm loving it. And so here's what I mean by going deeper into their pocket. You left off one layer. You talked about high school. You talked about transfer portal. Guys, don't forget staffing. Do you know that when you're trying to hire people to come work for you and they think that you're going to be gone in a day or a year or two, how adverse that can be? And it just shows you what a great guy and salesman that Coach Prime Deion Sanders is, that even cloud of uncertainty, you get a Marshall Faulk and a Warren Sapp to come. What's going to happen to this staff when people know you can come join it and you got a job for 3 to 5 years? You're going to see that same thing happen with the professionals that support this organization. You're going to see it in transfer portal. You're going to especially see it in high school, because now that false argument of don't go there because he ain't going to be there long, it is dead, dead, dead. Colorado has a coach for the next 5 years in Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. And everything from the organization standpoint, not only going to keep rising, it's going to rise at an exponential level now, because now you have certainty in place.
Unc, great points all around. One of the words that I think has come up a lot today is validation. And I think a lot about the conversations that you and Jake and I had right after Coach Prime got here, as you know, kind of our friendship was taking off. And I think back to so many things that you said, and they've all come true. You know, like you're like, this guy is going to win. He's not just here for a year and he's going to jump for another job. He speaks his mind. He'll tell you like it is. If he wanted to go to the NFL, he wouldn't say he doesn't want to go to the NFL, you know, whatever it may be. I'm just curious how you're feeling today, you know, because I know, like, you've experienced with us, every time you say something like this, there's someone around the corner saying, you're wrong, you're lying, you don't understand.
You know, I did a show this morning, the morning run. We had Jason Phillips on and kind of broke the news live. Coach Phillips, the wide receiver coach of Colorado, longtime friend of Coach Prime. And I literally said to him, I don't know how many times people got to stop being wrong before they just give up on being wrong. You're 0 for 15 and still going for the same move again. Like, it doesn't work. This guy doesn't lie. And let me tell you this, Ryan, I appreciate Arcade the Flowers and they calling this and the way I called it happen. I really do appreciate that, but it's easy to call it when you've seen him do it before. And that was without me knowing how much he was going to fall in love with Boulder, Longmont, Colorado. Like, he loves being here and he's committed to being here. When he was preparing to depart from Jackson State, you couldn't tell he was preparing to leave because he works his ass off every day. When you give him some stability and he knows he's going to be somewhere, that's why I'm telling you, this program is going to elevate now because he has peace of mind. There have been times where I'm having conversations with him, and yeah, he's coaching, yeah, he's all in, he's doing his thing, but there's always this but moment, like, we got to get this deal done. I don't know what's taking so long. Here, I said this before, Scotty, Jake as well. When I talk about, like, Coach Prime's health challenges over the years and how right now you got the healthiest, best Coach Prime you've seen, when you add in the fact that you got a Coach Prime that also doesn't have the burden of coaching, you know, 2 biological children on the team, when you add in the fact that now you got a Coach Prime with a 5-year deal, something he hasn't had in his coaching career, standing on that, what kind of guy do you think you got now? Like what do you think the rest of spring practice and fall camp is going to be like now? He's already said to us, we got Miss Peggy to a bowl game. That ain't the goal no more. The goal is to win the Big 12 championship. And here's what I think people don't hear when he says that. When you win the Big 12 championship, you're in the CFP.
Playoffs.
So the goal is to go to the college football playoffs this year. Anything short of that is a failure for him. I love his attitude. I love the way he works. I love the way he calls it like it is. He doesn't sugarcoat it, and people ain't used to that, so they always think it's something else, Ryan. They think he's lying when he's telling you what he's thinking, right?
Facts.
Unc, I mean, we're in spring break right now. I mean, you're back home. Coach Prime's probably not on campus either. But what have you seen from the first couple weeks of spring football? How Coach Prime, has embraced, this opportunity to coach this football team. Of course, without his sons, it was always going to be a change, and we talked about that change for him. And he talked about it too. He didn't know how he was going to feel, how he was going to like it. Just what have you seen from him these first 2 weeks of spring football?
One of the things I think that's consistent about Coach Prime across the board is he's not a guy, if you're in the opposition, he's not a guy you want to give time to. Like when he has time, he figures things out that other people don't figure out. And what he has now is more time because he doesn't have the role of biological father taking place right now. He is strictly head coach. His eye and attention to detail has gone up exponentially. His expectations of the staff and the support staff have gone up as well. He's demanding more discipline and accountability, unlike ever before. And who thought that could go higher? But he's taking it up a notch in that regard. I think he knows that this program, 9 wins ain't enough. We got to get double digits or greater if we're going to go to the Big 12 championship and run it. And so he's looking at any and everything, no stone unturned, anything that he can adjust or correct to make this team more dominant and make it more dominant now he's doing. One of the knocks, as y'all have said about him not recruiting high school, which was false, that includes him playing these guys. Like, I don't care if you just got here this spring or you've been here. If you're on this team, he's expecting production from you. And so when you look at him making changes in the offense, making changes in the defense, being a true head coach, what I'm saying is an eye and attention to detail that I've never seen before and a readiness that he wants to win and win it all this year.
I think it's funny at the beginning there when you said that Coach Prime is the type of guy, like if you give him extra time to prepare, it's going to be scary. And it's funny because we say literally the same thing about Shedeur Sanders. If you give him extra time to prepare, whether it's a bye week or a season opener, he's going to make you pay. I just thought that was interesting. But also, too, what you mentioned there, which we know, Coach Prime don't lie to us. And when he said last year that he's trying to get Peggy to a bowl game, he went and did that. When he says this year that he's trying to win the Big 12, that's what I'm expecting. And I feel like through 6 spring practices, and I'm curious your thoughts, do you think through six spring practices, what he saw from this team as a whole, being more balanced, like he said, probably being a better overall team than the one that was last year, do you think what he saw through 6 spring practices might have led to his urgency to really want to get this done and get that long-term security locked in?
I do. I think it all meshes and matches, and fits. He's the kind of guy, as I said before, he's going to do his job and do it at a high level, regardless of things being in place or not, because he already is the football coach of Colorado. So I don't think getting the deal done is like, okay, now I'm going to try to win by 20 points.
Right.
But I do think it's just one more thing off the table, for him to do. Let me see. Spring season, Jack State 2 fall. This is going into my 6th football season with him. And one thing I've never seen him do is lose week 1. The everything right now is, man, beat Georgia Tech. He is, that's what's on the mind. That's what's that first Friday night, Folsom game, August 29th, Labor Day weekend. Everything is geared toward winning that game. Having this contract done before then just removes something less that he has to focus on or work on while he's preparing for that. And again, if you give this guy time and you give this guy, a clean desk where only thing on is one thing, I feel sorry for one thing.
Unc, I think this would be a good place to tie a bow on this, and we can let you go. One of the things that I always thought about when Coach Prime got here is he's in this to win a national championship. Like, that is going to be his mindset as a coach. And I always wondered and almost feared early on in his tenure here that he at some point might feel he doesn't think he can accomplish that at Colorado because of X, Y, or Z, and that could potentially lead to him going somewhere else. This, to me, today and over the last couple of years has shown what he could already do here. Almost kind of tells me Coach Prime does believe that he can win a national championship at Colorado. Would you agree with that?
I agree with it so much you can just sign my name to it. Just type that again and write Neely up under and hit enter and send. And because I think what has happened, man, let's talk about the elephant in the room around college football as you juxtaposition Colorado to it. There's other programs with more money, and they spend more money on their programs than we do. And I think the one thing that was missing in the Colorado algorithm was, okay, how deep are we going to reach in the pocket to help this guy be successful in doing all that he does? And it's not just his contract and his salary. You know, look what happened for Rob Livingston and him turning down offers to the NFL and bigger schools. You showed you believe in him and his defense by giving him, you know, that just salary and compensation. But it doesn't just stop there. You know, I had a conversation with Chef Carl Solomon, $2 million budget to feed the football player, you know, bigger than it's ever been before. Those kind of investments show Coach Prime, show Deion Sanders, all right, it ain't just me. And now I'm finna put everything I got in because it's augmented by something else. And as we roll down, you know, this new path of revenue sharing and all that stuff, I just feel like the school and Rick George and everybody's going to lean in and be behind them even more, the alumni base, the fans, and they're giving because this guy has sacrificed to be here. We all know Coach Prime on the open market is worth more than 10, but he wants to be here. And I think when people see how much he truly loves this community and want him to be here, they're going to dig in and go deep pocket with Scotty and make more investments as well. And we're going to catch up to those schools who have, quote unquote, bigger budgets. And that's just going to translate to more wins, chiefly a national championship.
Swear.
Amen. Well, appreciate you for hopping on with us short notice. We all love an emergency pod, right?
Hey, you beat me to it, man. When I saw you had me at emergency.
Emergency squad pod.
Put that together, bro.
It could have been emergency Ralphie, emergency Scotty shirt. When I saw emergency, I got to go.
All right, appreciate you hopping on, and we will see you very soon.
Love us.
Yeah, real quick to you guys and to your audience, and you know, in particular, down the road, our shared audience with the DNVR pregame show. Still on spring break. All the players have to report back by Sunday 4 p.m. Some weightlifting on Monday, and then practice 7. You know, will be Tuesday. So we're going to move to this Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday practice schedule. Going into culminating with that spring game. So the boys are back in town next week. Looking forward to seeing y'all, man.
Let's go.
Let's have some fun, man.
Let's get it. Appreciate
See
you,
you,
Unc.
See you, Unc.
All good.
You know, one thing that I found to be notable about Unc's disposition there is like, it's not as like this big celebratory day as it is for us.
It's
Well, and I also just think he knows,
Yeah.
you know, like there's a lot of times where we've expressed like nervousness or one thing or another to Unc, and he's always just like, no, you don't got to worry about that.
Why are you worrying? Is basically how he approaches that
and
stuff.
you could just tell today, like he's like, yeah, this is what I thought was going to happen.
exactly,
It happened.
exactly. Is it time?
It's time.
Let's take a drive. It's been a minute.
skirt.
Beep, beep.
It's been a long time. Let's go down good old Receipt Street, baby.
Oh man, no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be.
This one was a long time coming. There's a lot of people who said a lot of things about Coach Prime.
Much confidence. So loud, so wrong.
Almost like
Loud
more
and
confident
wrong.
than Coach himself when he's just like on the podium. It's crazy.
Yes. All right, this is the first one here. I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can read it more accurately. It comes in from the Ram U, and it was in response to the Coach Prime expressing interest in the Raiders job report. He said, LOL, I love this for Boulder so much. Lose your head coach late in the cycle just so he and Shador can go to the Raiders of all teams. In fact, I'm pretty sure I predicted this exact thing last summer to out-of-touch Buffs fans who said he wasn't going anywhere. Tough.
Great prediction, brother.
Oh, you called it. You called it.
It's a smart guy right there.
Who's next? Give me another one.
Good old Rams. Crazy week for Rams fans.
Wild week
I
for
think this
them.
one is my favorite. The thing about Deion Sanders leaving Colorado for literally anywhere is that it was 100% predictable.
Oof.
Back-to-back receipts with the word predict in it. These people need to stop predicting things.
bro.
Y'all just got to stop doing that. Stick to what you know.
Feed me more. What else do we got?
Okay, yeah, this one I had to get a Rams fan and a Huskers fan in here.
Excellent.
This one was in response to the Raiders one as well. And it says, I will be saying, I told you so to everyone who told me he was going to stay, and then I'm going to laugh for a week straight. CU is about to be completely bamboozled. Who's laughing now?
Hey, let's all just point and laugh.
Bamboozled now. Next one. Let's go. Another CSU Rams fan. They must be having quite the week. Deion with one last put. This is last transfer portal in last spring. Deion with one last push for some unintelligent transfers to fill his roster at CU. Dude isn't even hiding the fact he's not recruiting beyond this year. 5-win ceiling this year, and then leaves CU in complete shambles for next decade. The rise is real. Crying, laughing emoji.
Nice.
What an idiot.
Some nice veiled racism in there as well.
We love
sure.
the unintelligent transfers. I wonder what he meant by that. Clown.
Next. The Bulldog Report. Colorado fans don't want to talk about it right now, but they're going to go from 10-2 as our floor to Deion gutted our program in 2 years and left us with nothing to build on real quick.
Oh, no.
Crazy.
All we have is all these 5 stars.
Oh, man.
This might be the last one, I think. CFB Home likes to troll Colorado
CFB
fans quite a
Home.
bit. They just haven't learned that the more that you put out there, the more I'm going to bookmark and bring it back up every single time. And there's more to come, too, from this guy in the future. He just said of the report in January with the Las Vegas Journal connecting Coach Prime to the Raiders, he says, Colorado fans, we tried to warn you. Well, you should maybe listen to us a bit more.
Speaking of, like, they don't know you're going to bookmark it. I have one that I'm going to unload on Twitter later that literally they said, bookmark this. So you ask for it.
They don't know what they're asking for. It's
Follow
crazy.
directions.
Oh, man. There you go. That's Receipt Street, a nice little off-season edition. Probably the sweetest one so far.
Am goes creep to a low speed on Receipt Street for real.
Yeah.
You got to ride through, make sure everybody sees you on Receipt Street.
Yep.
Subs cranked all the way up.
Absolutely. Have to. It might be a while before we take another drive, but
That was a good one, though.
just savor that one.
I know. And this one is really like, you can unload these receipts for weeks now.
There's more. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah,
I've
there's
got more.
plenty more. And like, the good thing is, like, I've bookmarked ones that were quote tweets. Then you could just go to the original post and just read all of the
there's
replies.
countless. It's an infinite supply. Oh, my Lord.
I will say, do you hear that? Incredibly quiet.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't hear anything.
my mentions are, there's no one hating.
I think I've gotten like
they don't know what
3
to say.
replies to all my tweets today, literally.
They don't know what to say right now because they're probably just scrambling to delete tweets at this point. The next one, I think this is the last place that the goalpost can go. We'll see. But I think the last place the goalpost will move is he'll never win a national championship at Colorado. And so I'm excited for the goalposts to go there because all we ever do is find a way to put it through those goalposts.
Yep. The drive will continue on Twitter if you want some more Receipt Street, I'm sure.
The national championship Receipt Street, bro.
I'm actually reserving an entire show for that.
We should.
That would be
The Receipt Street show.
We should.
Receipt Street show.
Be great. Anything else, boys? Let's get to Super Chats.
Hit the chat ski.
Let's go. Keep
Hit
smashing that
button.
like. We got to set a
Facts.
record today. We
Let's
got
go. We can get to 800 by the time we're done reading all these, right? We're at 606 now.
Definitely.
We should get to 1,000.
Let's do it. All right. Hendy Tud says the floodgates for recruiting have officially opened. Bring on the 5 stars. Facts.
Great point, and
Thank you,
You
Alyssa.
reminded me to something that I wanted to bring up that I can share from this process. One of the things that Coach Prime wanted to be assured of is more NIL support for Colorado football. And I know for a fact that multiple people stepped up and committed to making sure that Coach Prime has that more support. So we've talked a lot about recruiting here and talked about how we're going to be opened up into a much larger pool of players, I believe. And it's my understanding that Colorado now has very, very competitive
war chest.
War chest, exactly, to go in here. Doesn't mean we don't always need more,
Of course.
but very, very good byproduct of this news.
Facts. What's up, Kev?
Kev.
In the words of the prophet Deion Sanders, must be the money. Love it.
Facts. I'm going to turn that up.
Absolutely. What's up, Tom? He says, in Tampa for Rocks opening day and couldn't care less about this game. The extension is it. Hashtag SCO. 100% with you, man.
Go.
That's sick. You'll probably be one of like the 3 people at that game. Rays fans, don't show up.
It gets sad down there, yeah. Ryan says, just because it's a holiday, LFG, let's go, baby.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all who celebrate.
If anyone wants to, come have a celebratory drink with us here at the DNVR bar, our day just got a lot shorter.
Yeah, we're on weekend timing now.
Coach Prime hooked us up. We got our show over earlier.
Yes.
Weekend starts as soon as we press end on this.
Let's go. DJ Flame, our guy. What's up, man? He says, what's up, gents? Congrats to Coach Prime on a deserving new contract. Thanks, Coach, for allowing us a small view into your life as a football coach and father. Salute DNVR for the continued amazing content you provide us. SDP, RK, Jake, Neely, FDP, DNVR starting 5. Let's go. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Flame.
Let's go.
Always supporting DJ Flame DU.
For real.
Same as East Coast Kev. Multiple times, too. He's back again. Says, attention all high school recruits. Now that Coach Prime has been extended, there's no reason to wonder if he's leaving. Recruits, we ain't hard to find.
I think Dorian Barney finna be that first big fish, man. I think he's gonna be that first big fish.
Go.
Obviously, offers from everybody. Former high school teammates with Julian Lewis at Carrollton. He just dropped his top 6 today, which includes Michigan, Texas A&M, Georgia Tech, Penn State, North Carolina, and Colorado. And of course, about last month, Dorian Barney was on FaceTime with Coach Prime, and he told Adam Gorney at Rivals. Dorian Barney did. He doesn't talk to a lot of recruits. So if he's talking to me, he needs and wants me to come play for him. There's that needs word again. I think Dorian Barney is a buff.
It's a lock.
Let's go.
East Coast Kev again. This would be a great time to drop that Must Be the Money remix on the radio.
Thanks.
Hey, Norvell, where's your extension?
Who's that?
Or does your wife control that too?
That's crazy. East Coast Kev with a banger for a big show.
It lasted 2 months.
Kev deserves this day. He's been on great behavior for a minute.
Oh, man.
Kay says, congrats, Coach Prime, and shout out the Quad Pod. Absolutely. Shout out to you, Kay.
Quad pod.
Thank you very much. All this means is we better figure out a way to elevate our game.
Yeah.
We will.
We always do.
We will.
Period.
I'm actually already cooking on something that you guys don't even know about.
Let's go. Can't wait to hear it. Oh, man. What a day. What a show. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go back and rewatch this now.
Congratulations to all the believers.
Facts. We won.
We won. Made it.
We won. We made it.
Colorado, Coach Prime, and DNVR Buffs win again.
That's what we do.
See you all Monday.
Shout
Go
out Uncle
Buffs.
Neely for joining us, man.
Hell yeah.
We all silly like the mayor.